Hello there, Robert Barton with OfficeAutomated.com. This is my favorite type of video to do because it's a real life example of our customer, one of our customers who has 2 locations, and we do marketing for them, and they also have our Office Automated system. And I'm going to show you this real life example of how to use our system to potentially quadruple the revenue at one of these locations, just using the other location as a standard, which is maybe not even as good as it could be, but one location to the other location is literally costing $1 million a year in this particular example. So I'm going to show you how to use the Office Automated system to strategize and to track and to hold employees accountable. And this is potentially going to create an additional $1 million of income for this particular business. And again, a real life example here. So again, how to use the Office Automated software to quadruple ad spend efficiency. So money is being spent on ads, and it's a matter of whether or not these people make it into this clinic in order to be seen by the doctor as to the revenue that's made, and certainly the profit that is made as well. So we're going to take clinic number 1. We have 170 leads that we've generated for this clinic in less than 2 months, and that's on an ad spend of a little over $5,000. That's $29.70 per lead, and the value per patient is $3,000. Actually, I've been told it's more like $3,500, but I'm just pulling it down a little bit. It's about $3,000 for a lifetime value of every patient. Now, the potential value based on the leads that have already opted in is 3,000 times 170, which is approximately $510,000 of potential revenue that's out there with the leads that have already opted in. And what is the primary factor in the ability to recover that revenue? Well, it's basically an employee's or the employee's ability to get those leads or those patients into the office and actually see the doctor. Then and only then can services be delivered, rendered, collections be made, and money be made. So this is a tale of 2 clinics. Clinic number 1 has 89 leads converted to consults, and that looks like this. So we use these lead sheets, and these are live on the employee's desk, and they basically highlight the ones that turn into consults with a green highlight. And that is what this looks like. This is basically less than 2 months worth of advertising and a $5,000 ad spend. And everywhere you see a green is a $3,000 patient who has scheduled a consult. So that's what that looks like, and that's where this data comes from. And that is $3,000 on basically a 90% sign-up rate. So that's 80 of those leads at $3,000. That's $240,000 of revenue generated in a period of less than 2 months. Okay. Now, we call that the consult scheduled efficiency. So that's basically 89 divided by 170 times 100 is 52% of the consults have been scheduled, and that is the baseline value. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. That's what this clinic actually has, is a 52% consult scheduled efficiency. Now that's about $240,000 of potential revenue on about a $5,000 ad spend. Not a bad return on investment. So obviously very important to maximize this revenue because there's a lot of it out there to be had in this particular business. Now, the potential of unrecovered revenue is 81 of those unconverted consults left over at a 90% sign-up rate is 73 consults times $3,000 is about $219,000 of unrecovered potential revenue based on the leads that have already opted in. They've already been paid for, they've already been opted in. So that's an opportunity essentially. And again, this is clinic number 1, but we have a lead revenue ratio of 240,000 divided by 459,000 of potential revenue at a 90% sign-up rate. So that's a 52% potential revenue recovered as well, which correlates with the consult scheduled efficiency. Okay, so we can actually just use the lead revenue ratio in the consult scheduled efficiency ratio interchangeably. So what are some ways to increase the lead revenue ratio? So we can improve phone skills. We can improve follow-up by emails and phone. We can optimize tracking and organization with regard to the lead sheet that I just showed you. We can improve the back-end marketing from the standpoint of generating content online, essentially, and putting that content into emails and email sequences. We can improve the online reviews and reputation, again, by content as well. And then we can increase the content so that people get value without coming in. So in other words, just putting content on YouTube and giving people, things they can do for their knee pain, exercises, research about knee pain, latest advances, anything that just gives a person value without them having to come in. When they're ready to come in, they're going to come in, and that's going to increase the efficiency of the leads that have already been purchased, essentially. Now, this is clinic number 2. It's the same company in a different location in a different city. And in this particular instance, we have 75 leads in 6 weeks with an ad spend of $26.74.21. And that cost per lead is about $35.66, give or take a penny. And that is about the same as the other location. It's about $5, $6 more, but give or take, that's totally fine. Now, the potential revenue of those leads that have already come in is $225,000 if 100% of them signed up. However, only 9 consults have been scheduled. Let me show you the lead sheet that we use, the live lead sheet here for this particular location. Now, keep in mind that this one here is location number 1. This one is location number 2. So you can see that the green highlights are far less than this one here, okay? Big difference. So we have 9 consults scheduled. That's 9 leads converted to consults at $3,000 per paying patient with a 90% sign-up rate. And that's 8 times 3,000. That's $24,000 of revenue off of about a $2,000 spend. Still profitable, but not near as profitable as it could be based on even the standard set by the other clinic. So the consult scheduled efficiency is actually at 12%. That's 9 divided by 75 total leads times 100. That's 12%. That is literally 1/4 of the percentage of the other location. And that's how we can quadruple the revenue based on the standard set by the other clinic. That's where that came from. So 52% for clinic number 1 of this consult scheduled efficiency compared to 12% for clinic number 2. Okay, and so clinic number 2 is only capturing 12% of the potential revenue because, as I said, the lead revenue ratio is interchangeable with the consult scheduled efficiency ratio, or that percentage, essentially. So clinic number 2 is only capturing about 25% of clinic number 1's efficiency. And what if clinic number 2 could just match clinic number 1's efficiency? What would those numbers look like? That would be 39 consults as opposed to 9 consults. And at $3,000 per paying patient with a 90% sign-up rate, you're looking at $105,000 of revenue compared to the $24,000 that we saw earlier. So the actual revenue is $24,000, and potential of matching clinic number 1's consult scheduled efficiency would be $105,000. So there's a big potential there. And obviously it's the employee, or I think it's the employee that is the wild card here. And if that employee can be improved upon, then we can capture literally 4 times the revenue if we just meet or match what's being done at the other office. And that's not even including optimizing what's being done at the other office and maybe getting that up to 60% in terms of the consult schedule efficiency. And we just went over the list of what can influence that. So here are the steps to take within Office Automated. And again, Office Automated was created to be a system to help business owners be more efficient with these types of actions. And I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One is to give this business owner some action steps to take within the system that he already has. And 2 is to illustrate to you, if you're not an Office Automated customer, that there are some steps to take. There is a system to make this easier. You can certainly do everything I'm going to show you without the Office Automated system, but we can make it much easier and put everything into one place under one umbrella. And there's a lot of steps to take, but at the end, we're going to talk about, whether or not this is worth it. So the first thing we're going to do is create an Office Manual page to set the standard within the system. So let me show you what that looks like. So here we are in the office manual. I've gone to create a new topic, and I'll explain this more here shortly, but I'm going to basically type out this standard for this customer. This is actually in our actual customer's online digital office manual. I'm going to type this out, and then we'll kind of explain what it says. Okay, so we have the office manual page here. We've typed in, this information. Facebook and other online advertising will come in via email, as well as the automated lead sheet. This is the link for the lead sheet. This is the one here for one location. This is location number 2. Watch the video on the page to learn how to properly highlight rows so stats can be tracked properly. So on and so forth. I won't read all this, but the point is that it's it's something that can be read by staff members, new staff members, cross-training staff members, things of that nature, to understand what this process is. All right, so that was the create the office manual page to set the standard. Next, we're going to create a stats fields to measure and hold all employees, or certainly the relevant employees, accountable as well. So let's go in and do that. For that, we're going to go into the stats area. We're going to edit the form, and this customer currently does not use the stats. So we're going to do this in their actual platform, and we're going to go add stat. This is the stat title. It says task title. What's the stat title? So we're going to do leads SA. We're going to do Facebook leads SA. Actually going to do this back to March the 1st. Started this advertising in March. So we can go back in time and put that information in. Going to add another field. We'll set this one for the date that we started the advertising for this clinic. Now, I'll tell you what, we'll actually just keep them consistent, just to not make it too confusing. Okay, so here we have these statistics information. Okay, this is a daily stat that will be kept, and we're going to update this. When we click a day here, we're going to go here. These are the stats that will be kept by these individual employees, okay? And they're just going to put that number in here. So essentially all that has to happen is they click on a day. So let's go back and we'll populate a little bit here. So we have on the 7th, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 leads that opted in on the 7th for that particular location. So we're going to go to the 7th and put in 4. Of those leads, 1 of them scheduled. And we don't have this data yet. So we're going to update this. And you'll notice that nothing really happens here. So what happens is when you put all information in for all locations and all fields, even with the 0 value, then it's going to make that day turn green. So as a manager, you can easily go back and check whether or not people have put in their stats. It's a real easy way to check on that. But if you wanted to go in here, you could see the data that has been entered, and then we're going to use that data to populate some formulas here shortly. All right, so now we're going to go to the dashboard, and we're going to create basically some stats here. We're going to add a new item. We're going to call this consult scheduled efficiency. It's going to be a number, and specifically a percentage, and we are going to go, and this is actually going to be for this particular location. All right, so now we're going to make a formula to automate the population of this data in the dashboard. So we're going to create a formula, like a math formula. We're going to do a parentheses here. We're going to do the number of consults scheduled divided by the number of leads, close the parentheses, We're going to multiply that by 100. Perfect. And we're going to create this item. We're going to make this public so that any person within this particular business can just drop that dashboard item onto their dashboard. We'll share that and we are good. So we're going to go to the dashboard. We now see this right here. We're going to drop this on and then we'll go for the month of March and we have 37% for the numbers that we put in so far. So now if the staff puts in all this data as they're supposed to, then it's going to reflect more of the 50% that we did when I did it manually. But this is how you automate the process of getting this information into here so you can easily just check this here, SA consult scheduled efficiency. And this is how you measure the consult efficiency of this particular staff member, because this staff member is assigned to this particular stat. And I could go on and on about how to do stats within our dashboard and collecting the data. This is more of a strategic example so that you understand that it can be done in accordance with create stat fields to measure and hold employees accountable. So moving on, we're now going to create a video for the lead sheet to explain how to track and highlight so the data is accurate. This video will also communicate the standard we are going for. So I did that already, and you saw that in the Office Manual page. Now we're going to put that video into the curriculum with test questions. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like once I'm done. All right, so now we're going to add a new question so that we can really test an employee's knowledge of how this works. All right, we're going to add a new question. I'm just going to keep adding questions here. You can kind of follow along. We'll speed this up in the video. And for this question, we'll go ahead and put an image for this. And there it is right there. Took a little screenshot and put it in there so that way when they take the lesson, then they can actually see this. So notes should be kept in the columns G, H, and I with regard to when the patient was called and the results of the call. So of course, they can put in notes right there, and that helps there. And we're going to add a new question, one more new question. All right, so, and I didn't put that in the video per se, but it's a little bit self-explanatory, and then just going through this particular lesson in the curriculum will allow them to understand more about what's needing to happen. And, this is a real live situation here, and I'm gonna go back to the Office Manual and actually put that in there as well. So we're gonna go to front office procedures, and then the phone or appointment scheduling, and then here we go, scheduling this Facebook. And I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to modify this. All right, so I put some additional information into this form now. Let's move on to additional action steps. So we put the video into the curriculum with test questions, and that is here. So that's the video. They can play the video. They can expand the video here. And they can take the lesson afterwards. Has a picture in here. This is going to make sure they understand all this material. That's going to go into their HR, and it's systematized now. Next thing we're going to do is have a conversation with the employee at clinic number 2 and document in the HR under note to file. Now I'm going to go into another instance, basically a demo version of this, and just show you what this looks like. So we have the employee list here. We're just going to select a sample worker. to show you what that looks like. And we're going to go down to, this is the HR area. We're going to go down to add note, click there, and we're going to type in a note with regard to this. All right, so I put in this. This is really kind of mock. This is what I would do if this was my employee. It's not my employee. It's my customer's employee, and so I've just put it into another version of the platform here. So this is what I would do though, is just write down the conversation. Might look a little different than this, but you get the point. Okay, so I'm going to save this note to file. It's in there permanently. I cannot erase this within the system. It's going to be used to track her performance with this particular stat. All right, so I've satisfied that. We're going to go to here. If the employee in question hasn't been reviewed in a while, we're going to schedule a review, and we're going to have her review herself and then compare that to the management review. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Again, in the same area, we're going to go to this area here, which is review. Let's scroll down here. If I was logged in as the employee, I could literally, click the employee review and go ahead and review myself, and all the way down to here we can save this. We can save a draft if necessary, and then when the manager goes to review, they can flip over and they can see what the employee has written about themselves, and it helps the managers sometimes deliver a better review. And then you can compare the two, and that's very useful. So that is what the review looks like in the system. We're going to monitor the newly created stats daily, weekly by creating formulas in the dashboard. We already did that. We have this one formula here. We don't have data on actual patients, so we would actually add that as well, because we do have the raw data for that. As you remember, go into here, we have the signups for treatment. TX is treatment, not Texas. Signups for treatment. And if we get that data, we can create a dashboard item for that. Then we're going to communicate with the employee via the chat messenger about how she is doing. So again, as the employee is doing what she does, scheduling these consults, calling these people, it's very easy to go to the actual lead sheet, take a look at what she's highlighted, take a look at some notes here, check the stats as we have indicated already in the stats, and then go to this particular employee, click on her name, and then just type a message and communicate with her how she's doing. Give her a little bit of feedback. Hey, great job on this, great job on that. Send it to it. This is the actual employee's platform right here, so I'm not going to do that. You press send. You can send it to SMS if you'd like, but the message center, this is an example of a message center for this 2-location practice, and it's actually about to be a 3-location practice. So very easy to communicate with that employee via the chat messenger. Next, we're going to train and role play as necessary to improve the employee's performance and the consult schedule efficiency. Again, you're just going to go through role plays. You're going to help the employee as much as possible. You're going to document those as necessary in the system. You can put that in the note to file. You can also create a 5-star standard of excellence skills review and fill it out during the role plays. Now, we have these as templates, and it takes a little bit of time to create this according to what you're looking for, but let me show you an example of this. Here it is here. This is the 5-star standard of excellence employee review for the new patient phone call with price inquiry. This is actually a dental version, and here is what that looks like. We have the employee name, the location, the date, department. You can print this out and fill it out by hand, or you can do it on the computer here, whatever works better. But answers the call with enthusiasm. You're going to give it a 1-star all the way up to a 5-star. Rapport was built, 1-star to 5-star. Took control of the call. Either they did or they didn't, so it's either a 1 or a 5. Plugged the practice, they either did or they didn't, 1 or a 5. So on and so forth. And you can actually grade this by adding it all up and dividing it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then you can do the average for this scenario based on that. So they get a 2.5 or a 3.4 or whatever the case may be, but the point is that you can measure them and you can do it again in the future and basically keep track of what that employee is doing. Now, you will upload that into their HR. Again, I'll go to our sample one here. right here. So you can upload the date, you can put the scenario, upload it into the HR, and then you can have all those forms in there, all those grades, if you will, for the 5-star Standard of Excellence Skills Review. Next, we're going to warn write-up as necessary with plenty of note to files to support this action. So if this employee just isn't getting it for whatever reason, we can start to warn according to the standard. We can write up if she's just specifically not doing something that needs to be done. That's all happening within the system as well. It's sent to the employee. They can sign it. You have to document these things. You have to know when they're not living up to the standard, and you have to have a place to put it. Again, you can do all these things without Office Automated, but it's easier to have everything in one place, from the communication to the standard to the training, the HR functions. Everything's all in one place, all the way to the stats, and that is the power of the Office Automated system. You're not having to go between all these different applications. Now you can also record and listen to the calls. This particular client is getting a phone system where they can record incoming and outgoing calls, a cloud-based system. And this is going to be huge because they can hold the employees even more accountable with regard to these calls. They can basically put those into the platform. So we're going to put a good call into the platform, into an Office Manual page as an example. We're going to write on that page what was good, what could be better, so on and so forth. And we're going to also put bad calls into an Office Manual page and then write on the page what was good and bad about that as well, because we can have an audio file in the Office Manual. Let me show you what that looks like. So we're back here in the appointment scheduling section, and we're going to click here. We're going to add a new topic, and we can see here that we have an audio upload. So there's the audio upload. You can find your audio file that you take in off of your phone system and upload it to the page. And then it's going to have a little play button on there, much like the video does, and it allows you to put in this information, which is invaluable. So if you have an example of a phone call that you need to use for training, not just for current employees but for future employees, you can put it in the Office Manual page, and then you can hold people accountable to it. So next thing we're going to do is create training video with the recorded calls, explain what needs to happen as opposed to what is happening, and then put this video into the curriculum with questions. I've already shown you what that looks like. We can take any video we create and put it in the Office Manual and also put it into the curriculum and then put those questions with it so employees just know what to do with regard to the information you're putting in there. You can understand if they understand it, and that goes in their HR. All that happens automatically. It is just beautiful when this work is done so that it systemizes your business. Now, if this employee leaves, and she will, she or he, they all leave at some point, then just plug the new employee into your system that you've created, that we've actually created here before you, and measure against that standard. Now, we've done a lot of this systemization with this video. It's a long video, I realize that, but it's definitely worth it. It's taken me a little bit of time to even put this together, and we're not all the way finished because I don't have examples of actual phone calls with this particular clinic. I actually do, but I'm not going to lengthen this video for that. We have some inbound calls that I have recordings of, but I think you get the point. You put it into the Office Manual page, you analyze that, listen to it one time, create some commentary with it, use it for training, use it in role playing, stand up at your staff meetings and play the recording. And you're in your Office Manual or in the curriculum when you do this, and you have all the staff around, and you basically go through the role training. Then you can use the 5-star employee excellence review form and just literally fill it out for every single employee and keep track of this. You're basically taking a subjective exercise and objectifying it with that form, much like a lot of sports are judged. We have ice skating, and that's a subjective activity, and they're objectifying it by giving scores to skills and so on and so forth. You have a technical component and then an execution component, or whatever the case may be. But you get the point. They're basically, you're taking a subjective skill and applying an objective number to it, and they have Olympic events that surround this. It's not as cut and dry as a track and field where you're running, and the fastest person that crosses the finish line is who wins. There's lots of sports that have to objectify something, and staff are no different. We have to be able to have a way to objectify the staff member's performance. Now, a little bit of work. If you've stuck with this video, have no idea who you are and what your position in life or your business is, but if you stuck with this video thus far, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, that is a lot of work. I don't think I wouldn't do all that work. And I hear that from employers. I hear that from our customers. I hear that from our potential customers. That's a lot of work. I don't want to, go through and create this standard and put that stuff in the office manual and put it in the curriculum. I just don't want to do all that. Well, let me ask you, is it worth $81,000? Would you sit down? So I've done this on a Saturday from about 9 a.m. It's about literally 2 p.m. So 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. is how long it took me to create this video. And if you told me that I could recover $81,000 by working from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on a Saturday, I would totally do it. I would sit down, I would dig in, I would figure this problem out, I would hold those employees accountable to it, and I'd be all over that employee to fix this problem because it's worth $81,000. But it's not just worth $81,000 one time, it's literally worth $81,000 per month to fix this particular issue within this clinic, just to get it up to the standard that the other clinic is already at. And that doesn't include improving the other clinic standard to recover more money there. Again, these are all real people that have opted in for Facebook advertising at a very, very low cost, by the way, $5,000 ad spend and a $2,600 ad spend in order to have the opportunity to bring that person into this clinic, deliver services to them that they need, and make a $3,000 average for the patient, for the lifetime value of the patient. So is it worth $81,000 to you to sit down and do this work, or to have a system where you can literally have everything in one place under one roof, and then have some consulting and coaching of how to accomplish this and how to derive these numbers? I think so. I mean, I can't imagine there's not a person out there that would not spend from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. or whatever, 2 p.m. now, to make $81,000. So, and your business may not have these kind of margins. It may not be, this particular, you just may not make this much. In fact, my other business doesn't have a lifetime value of $3,000 per patient. I can tell you that, but it's still worth it. Even if it was half that number, if you told me I was going to make $40,000 by sitting down from 9 to 1 each and every month, I would do the work. So hopefully this gives you some insight on how to tackle this, how you can quadruple the efficiency of your ad spend by taking some action with your employees. This is how you would do it within the Office Automated system. If you need help with your employees or automating your business or anything of the sort, we are available from a consulting standpoint all the way through, of course, our Office Automated system, which is applicable to any business that has employees or any business who wants to scale and add employees, and they want to build a foundation so that you don't have to work over and over and over again. All this work that I've done today does not need to be done again. It is ready to plug an employee into the system and have them follow it, and we can do the same for you. So take care. I'll see you in the next video.